This show is proudly brought to you by TraderCobb.com. If you want to get bi-weekly video newsletters on the markets that are not shown anywhere else, just subscribe underneath this video on the homepage. If you'd like to get some access to the free webinars to work out exactly what these trading strategies are about, pretty simple. Just go to free webinars. And if you've got friends or family and you'd like to learn more about blockchain and what the opportunity is, well, I've got a full 40-minute course there for you under free courses. Please share this link around and get involved. And enjoy the show.
The Trader Cobb Crypto Show, talking business in blockchain.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Trader Cobb Crypto Podcast. I've got an amazing guest today from the other side of the world, quite literally. I've got a woman who's been around for quite some time in this space and has her hands full in a couple of different areas in the blockchain world. I have Emma Todd, who is the CEO of MMH Blockchain Group, as well as the co-chair for what's it called? Blockchain for Impact. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
No, it's going to be a good one. Look, I just want to sort of touch on an intro first up. To understand what brought you into this space would help me to understand for the future.
Okay. All right. So a friend of mine, Amber Scott, she was having a conference along with Michael Perklin. He is now, I think, the CTO of ShapeShift, one of my great inspirations. And they were having a conference here in Toronto a few years ago. And they were worried that it wasn't going to, do well because it hadn't done any marketing. So they asked me if I could help them with the marketing for that event, and it did well. We sold out in 3 days.
Wow.
And when you know marketing, all you really have to do is learn, about what it is people want you to market, and then go after the audience and look where they, find out where they are, and then that's how you do your marketing. But I went to the conference and I fell in love with blockchain. Oh my God, it was amazing. And I thought, and I was in banking, right? So I've been in banking for 15 years, went right out of school and loved it. But then I discovered blockchain, and it was literally like the Matrix, red pill, blue pill.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, I can't go back. And I fell in love with it. And back then, they're a little bit more guarded now, you may have found. But back then, they were very kind and they answered all my questions. And I guess I'm kind of like, I just ask. So people would be like, you just got this person's phone number? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, how did you get it? I said, well, I just asked him, and I would, right, you just ask. And
one of those strange things.
Yeah, and you get all these really, I would ask these, weird questions to me, and they would answer them. They were very helpful. And I didn't realize at the time that, I was getting trained by all the top people in crypto. And I fell in love with it, and I couldn't go back. And back then, nobody knew what Bitcoin was. Nobody knew what blockchain was. I think when I got into the space, Bitcoin was at $400, maybe $300.
Wow.
But I thought to myself, I won't make as much money as I did in banking, but I'm going to be I'm going to be so happy doing this. And the people that I've met, they make me so happy. And so I know earlier we were talking about, the guys in the space, and how they really just love their computers and love working, and talking to people isn't really their thing. And that's where I come in. But those are my guys, and everybody knows that, So they tell me what they need, and I go out there and I make sure that they get it. And they then have the freedom to just do their work and, do what they need to do, and not really talk to people, which is, we're working on that, but hey.
Well, it sounds like the mother hen job when that's needed in this space for sure. So was that back in 2014, 15, something like that?
Actually, no, 16, 17.
16, 17, because the price has done a few wild swings and bits and pieces. So you've been you've been around before that massive move to 20,000 that we saw evidently through 2017. Now, my question...
I didn't see it coming. I know they said it was going to happen. I didn't see it coming.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody sees too much of exactly where it's going to go to, and hopefully we see something stupid like that again in the not too distant future. But look, you got into it from a marketing point of view, and that was your sort of, I suppose, you almost tripped over and landed in it and got covered in it and went, I'm pretty happy
Yeah.
in this space right now. Did you
Yeah.
actually start investing at the same time, or are you just sort of primarily here when you began as somebody who was here to sort of fill a void?
Well, so the funny thing is I did start investing because my friends were like, at first it was just really just about you need to learn about Bitcoin. And I was like, okay. And then the best way to learn about anything really is to invest in
Do it.
it.
Mm.
And then my friend, you know what happened? They had the happening. So in 2017, so when Bitcoin split,
Yep.
then that was like a hey, invest now.
Yeah.
So I put everything that I had into it. It was quite funny because I remember that day we were out and then it was like, hang on, this is happening. Got to get home, got to make sure I do everything, that I can, so it was quite funny. So I like left all my friends at the restaurant and like ran home. But yeah, those are the good times when people still thought you were kind of crazy. It's a little bit different now.
Mm. Yeah. And did you
Yeah.
I mean, did you exit when it did get crazy, or?
No, no. So one of the things I found is that when it was getting crazy, it was really nice to appreciate. But when it was going down, people were like losing their minds.
Mm.
So I really just sort of, I stopped um, paying attention to what Bitcoin was at, what ETH was at, like I'm not in it just for Bitcoin. I'm in it for the love of it. So I watch it like once or twice a week,
Mhm.
and then sort of go from there.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to say that my family, like when I told them about it, they did invest. My friends in banking industry, they thought I was crazy,
Of course
and
I
they
did.
didn't invest.
Mhm.
I was like, come on, guys. I'm like, have you invested? No. Have you invested? No. Come on now. They're like, well, you invested for us. I'm like, it's not the same.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I was like, no, if you'd invested this amount, you would have, it would have been like 35 times the return by now. And they were like, oh, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, listen to me
exactly.
next time, huh?
Listen to me next time, right? But
Okay.
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
And it's got to be up to them. It's got to be their choice to do it because you can't get in the way of it. So look, I mean, you've come into the space. You've done very well by the sound of it, by when you got in, and that's
Yeah.
fantastic to hear. I love hearing those sorts of success stories. I'm noticing more and more now. We'll come back to MMH on this.
Mm,
That there is a lot more marketing dollars being spent on projects,
mm-hmm,
but not just projects in crypto, but companies are looking to introduce themselves to crypto. For example, I got off the train this morning.
mm-hmm.
I walked to the station, one stop, and I'm at my office, and I stopped and took a photo. There was a billboard there that was an Oracle billboard. Oracle, one of
Yeah,
the largest
yeah,
companies in the goddamn world. And
yeah.
the first word that I saw, it wasn't Oracle. It was blockchain, written really big across the billboard. And they're talking about the safety of using the blockchain through Oracle. I don't know how, like, I didn't go
It's a
into
private
details of what it
blockchain,
was, but
isn't it?
it's really like that's not a goddamn train station billboard for Oracle. So, are you
Yeah.
seeing your clients maybe shift to less rogue and more mainstream at the moment? I mean, have you seen it change in the last couple of years?
I have seen it change. I like to have a little bit of both.
Mm.
I have the mainstream ones because it is nice to sort of go in there and see them sort of understand and get the aha. And
That
I
makes
try
a
to
bank
work with
too,
the
right?
ones,
Let's be honest.
right? I mean,
They pay.
yeah, they pay. But I also like to work with the rogue ones, the ones that are like, we're here for the love of it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to help you any way I can. And so I have a good mixture of clients, and what's really good, Craig, is that at this time, I'm able to sort of pick and choose who I want. So,
Yeah, okay.
and that was a bit of a moment for me when I realized that this year. I'm like, okay, I don't think I want this one. And so as I'm taking the projects that make me feel good, or I think are just, they're impactful in some way. So, I know that we're here in Toronto, but if you look at Buns, BUNZ, it's a kind of a catchy name. They are doing really good things in terms of crypto, and they're actually a bartering organization. So before, in large, actually, it would be good for Sydney. In large cities, a lot of people can't actually afford to live there, so they barter. So it'll be like, hey, I like your blue blazer. I'll give you my glass. And people will be like, okay, but you need a double coincidence of wants.
Yeah.
So Buns was founded that way because some people couldn't afford to live, very well in Toronto, or Vancouver. And what they then found is that, it then shifted to, okay, I like your blue blazer, but you don't want my glass. Maybe I can give you a gift card. And
Oh,
people
yeah.
would be like, okay, right, it makes sense. But then you would take the gift card home, and then guess what? There wouldn't be any money on it. So you'd be like, I'm out. So then they said, let's develop a cryptocurrency. So that just lives on buns. It's called bits. So I like your blazer. You'll give me your blazer, and in return, I'll give you 10 bits.
Makes
And
sense. And it's
yeah,
there.
it's there, and you can actually change it out for currency if you want to. So they're doing really well, and they're looking at how they've got, I think, 1 million people on Facebook, and in their app they've got about 400,000. So they're really building, and they're actively in use. It's been in use for a year. So I love working with companies like that are doing really meaningful things, and then also, have some large companies that are doing some good things that I don't quite want to say here. But if you happen to watch, on Tuesday, what they're doing at the UN, a live stream, you might get some hints, my friend.
And on that, it's a perfect segue.
Yeah.
Thank you for popping that pass up. I'm just going to pick that up,
No.
go over the try line right under the post for that. Now, that might be a
Mhm.
foreign language to you because I'm speaking about rugby union right there.
Hey, man, I got so many Australian friends, you don't understand. I know
All
my
right.
rugby.
You understand what I'm talking about then? It's
Yes,
the
I
real
do.
one, the rugby union I'm talking about, the game they play in heaven apparently. So look, from MMH, I mean, obviously you've also got your hands full in the blockchain, blockchain for impact project. Now,
Yes.
I want to know more about that because the name is really cool. Does the
Thank
name
you.
back what you're actually doing, or is it just a cool name?
No, it actually backs what we're doing.
Tell us about
So
it.
yeah, so what Blockchain for Impact does is it works. We look at how we can impact the Sustainable Development Goals
Mhm.
that the UN has. Now, the UN has 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and they include things like climate change, um, uh, no hunger for kids, no hunger for anyone. Diversity,
Yeah.
inclusion for everyone. How do we, or oceans, and there's 17 of them. I'm not going to repeat all of them because, quite frankly, I can't quite remember all 17 off the top of my head.
Look, it's okay.
But
We've only got a certain amount of time anyway, Emma.
right, exactly. So what we do is, we look at how blockchain can impact them. So, it's been really interesting to see, and there are going to be some really great presentations. And what we wanted were things that are actually being done, not necessarily things that are hypothetical, because we've been in the space for a certain amount of time.
Mm.
People have time to talk about what they want to do. The time to execute is now.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about, what is it that they've done, and how is it going to impact the Sustainable Development Goals, and how can we use blockchain to make the world a better place? And
Wow.
that's what we're going to be talking about, on Tuesday at the United Nations.
Yeah, the United Nations building, United Nations
Right?
headquarters, New
Yes.
York, New York. Now, it's the 4th of June, 2019. And look, I've got a huge audience in the US and a large portion of that in New York. So get along. Or how, do they go? Do they tune in? Like, how do they watch this, get involved?
Yeah, so we're sold out right now, which is really great.
Of course,
but
because you're in the marketing, right?
But we're going to be streaming it, so I'll be sure to send it out to people so they can see it. And we've got some really great, innovative people who are going to be speaking, and we've also got some ambassadors, as well as prime minister of a certain country. I'm not sure if I can say them as yet, but it's a really great group of people that are all looking to see what they can do to affect change. And so I'm kind of thrilled to be, in the presence of these people, because it kind of helps me, so I'm inspired by change. And one thing I remember reading, which really helped me years ago, is they say that if you want to be the person to make a change or do, really impactful things, make sure you hang out with people who are already doing them, because for them it becomes mainstream, and then for you it'll become mainstream too.
Yeah.
So
It just
I've
becomes
tried to
your
do that.
guiding force.
Exactly. So I've been really fortunate that a lot of my really good friends in the blockchain space are actually, they're already doing good things, and I get my inspiration from them. But I also get my inspiration from these people that I'll meet on Tuesday.
That's really cool. That is really, really cool indeed. So everybody check out blockchainforimpact.org to get more information about that. Coming back again, I just want to flick out once again into the MMH group. And the reason I want to do that is because I guess like you cover there's quite a lot to marketing, right? Well, one of the aspects that you do cover is the PR side of it. So if I'm a, I guess let's say that I'm a structured company that's been around for 25 years, and I want people like the Oracle thing, right? Like the Oracle thing I just saw. And I want people to know that I am entering into this space, that we're open-minded, that we're taking on and embracing new technology. What sort of avenues would you look to? Like, what sort of options does somebody like that have? Are they going out to the mainstream, or are they trying to come in to tell us, the community, that we're a big guy, but we're okay. We're the nice guys. How do they try and angle themselves into crypto and blockchain?
Okay, so that seems like it would be enterprise. And the question would then be, they've been around for 25 years. What kind of audience do they have? If they've got a really good audience, an active audience, active participants, I would release a press release and perhaps do a webinar saying, here's what we've done. Because if they can mine from their existing group of clients to say, hey, we've got this new product, you use us, that's great. I would also at the time, so webinar is also good. If they're, if they're really, really wanting to make a splash, they don't just want to use their own clients, they want to go out and get new ones. You've got different options at that point. You can perhaps go to a really good event. If they've been around for 25 years and have a decent name, then people will definitely want to hear what they have to say. So we try and find, an event that could definitely be a good marquee for them in terms of getting the word out. And there's so many events these days, you want to make sure you choose the right one, because there are a lot of events that don't really need to, I'm trying to be nice here. But you know what I'm trying to say.
They don't cut the mustard.
Yeah, exactly. They don't. So, we discovered that in 2018 because there was an embarrassment of riches in terms of conferences. And then you slowly go to them, and then you realize the content isn't there, the quality isn't there.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that if you're going to have, an event, or if you're going to go to an event where you're going to, be a keynote, or you're going to, release a product, you want to let them, you want it to be a quality event.
Yeah.
So you want to do that. You want to have webinars. You want to have people. You want to have something for the community if possible. If you're a large company, you can manage it. You want to have something in the different cities.
Yep.
So you want to reach out to the community and let them know, and have community managers. And then you want to do, email is still king. So you also want to do, email blasts and let people know what you're doing. And then, make sure that follow-up is key. So I always say this, and people kind of, give me this look, but it doesn't matter how good your marketing is if you don't have good customer service.
Absolutely.
I can bring the people to you, but if you don't treat them right, they're not going to stay, right? If you're not following up with them, they're not going to stay. So really, those things you heard years ago, when you were a kid, it's still true. Customer service is king. It really is.
And would you have a similar approach to a smaller company? Like somebody, let's say there's a company who's trying to acquire new clients. Like actually, let's use my company as an example. So we have education.
Okay. Oh, you've got to go.
People how to trade. We've got a bunch of courses and whatnot. How does somebody like me get a bigger market?
Okay, you're already a name though, my friend. You're already a name. Okay, so if it was someone who wasn't quite a name like you were, I would tell them to show their product to an influencer, and hopefully try and piggyback off that influencer.
Okay.
Somebody who knows the ropes and could definitely help them along, because as much as I wish it wasn't so, you do have some people in the industry are kind of out to get people's money, and you need someone to help you navigate that, right? So if you have that 25 years of experience, you're sort of a little bit immune to that. But if you're brand new, the people are going to try and take your money. So you need someone to help you get over that hump, or stay away from those people. So you need someone who an influencer that can help you with that. And then if you have a really good product, just sort of get out there and start talking. Start talking at the meetups, go to the conferences. A booth is good sometimes. Definitely, you want to make sure that you have something really innovative.
Yeah.
because if you're at a booth, for example, I was at Collision last week, and it was massive for Toronto. It was 25,000 people, and I know that they have 25,000 people in one building, and
Wow.
right, and they had all these different booths, and they're different sizes, and I get that when you're starting out, you're at their basic booth, and the booth was maybe the size of like a little bit bigger than I am,
Yeah.
and you're standing there. But you need to do something to make your booth stand out. So I don't care whether you've got little sparklers everywhere or something. You want to make sure that you stand out away from the crowd. So that's what I always tell people: make sure that you stand out. So I'm kind of dressed down today, but like for example, when I was first starting out, and when I go out to conferences, I do things so that I stand out.
Yeah.
I wear bright colors.
Yeah.
And so I wear them everywhere. So everybody's always wearing black or like,
Yeah. Conference
gray.
clothes.
Converse colors. I show up in bright red or orange. I'm like, hey
Yeah.
guys, so that they knew I'm there. So you want to do things that make you stand out. You want to make sure that your product is different from what's out there. So that's also very important. So when you're starting up and you're up and coming, and you also want to show your product to other people, and hopefully get them talking about it too, right? So
Yeah.
offer free demos, free trials. Get really good when you get good feedback, post it, and you want to make sure your social media is good. So a lot of people, they are on social media looking at things. So if you good word of mouth, you can't beat that. So
Yeah.
get out there and people say Facebook is good, but I'm going to tell you, Instagram is probably better. Find a way to communicate what you're saying through
Different messages
Instagram.
though, isn't it? It's a different platform, Instagram. Like
It
we're
is.
still in the process of trying to get that right. We
Oh,
suck at Instagram. I'll tell you. I'll be dead set honest.
I'll tell you how to do it. It's super easy, my friend.
Oh, sweet. Well, look, we got a friendship right there. Not that we didn't have one before, Emma. I got to be honest with you. You're a lovely person and easy to speak
Oh,
to.
thank you.
Look, I think as we have seen the price increase a fair bit more recently and decrease today, you do see a lot more people starting to come. It's all
What
right.
is that right now?
It's meant to be.
Okay.
It's what's meant to happen in these markets. Trust me, we're good. But look, we've seen the market come back. I've seen a lot of people that disappeared last year, vanished.
Yes.
And now they're all back and they're all this expert and that expert and they're hawking this product and that product. And it's like, you know what? People go, what do you think about this person? I really don't care because we got our mission. We know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested in flashy lights and what everyone else is up to. I couldn't give two hoots about what everyone else is doing. I'm interested in what we're doing and what our mission is. Have you found that you've had a lot more knocks at the door in the last, say, 4 or 5 months?
Funnily enough, no, I didn't find it for past 4 or 5 months. I found it in the past month and a half.
Okay,
So
right. Month and a half.
yeah.
Right.
So, and I kind of saw it coming because when the price started dropping, a lot of companies went quiet. And me being me, I'm always like nosing around to see what's happening. And you realize that all of these companies, they committed the cardinal sin, which is why you need really good advisors to help you when you're young. You need to have 1 to 2 years of operating expenses.
Yep.
If you don't have 1 to 2 years of operating expenses in cash, not in crypto,
Yep.
in cash, what happens is when the price fluctuates and it goes down, then you're like, oh my God, let me take out more money out of, let me change my ETH into cash. And then you end up actually driving the price of ETH down.
Yep.
So one thing we always tell people is always have 1 or 2 years of operating expenses. And a lot of people were new to the space and they had some good ideas, but didn't necessarily know about, operations or management. And they learned that the hard way. So a lot of companies actually went, I like to say, quietly bankrupt. They went bankrupt, but they just didn't tell anybody, right?
Yeah.
And what's happened now is that the price of ETH, the price of Bitcoin has gone back up. So they've sort of, gotten a little bit more traction. And hopefully they've learned from that. But, they're sort of in a bit of a precarious position. But I have seen people have been approaching me now saying, hey, we want to do this, or hey, we're looking to do a raise, or, we really want to get the product, the word out about our product. Can you help us with that? And, you have to do your research. That's something I learned the hard way. People who because it's such a small community. As much as blockchain is global,
The community's lippy in
the
this.
communities, they're really, they're lippy and they're small, and you learn some things. Oh, this is a great person, but then and then an article comes out 3 weeks later, and you're like, oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Oops. So so you do your due diligence to make sure you're consorting with the right people, and then you do what you can to help them if it's worth it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with not having the being the first to market if you're a close second or a close third,
Yeah.
and you really think that your
And you
product
can
is good.
execute.
There's nothing wrong with, and you can execute, and that's actually something that people don't have a lot of in the space, which is why they hire me. They're not good at executing.
Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur until they work out how bloody hard it actually is.
It's really hard. No one tells you that. No one tells
Gary
you
V
that.
does. I'll tell you that. Gary V will tell you that.
He does. He does. Yeah, right. Like, there's no substitute for hard work. People always ask me, "What's the number one piece of advice I can tell you?" I'm like, work hard and then just keep working harder.
Tenacity.
Yeah. You just keep at it. Like, I work 16 hours a day.
Yep.
Admittedly, I love what I do. You're right. So it doesn't feel like work, but then you realize, you have to give it. There's a bit of give and take, and I'm not there
Balance.
yet.
You've got to have some form of balance, otherwise you go nutty.
I'm not there yet, my friend. I'm happy, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, the balance side of things for me, I got a couple of kids. They keep me pretty grounded on that. So that's pretty much where I find my balance. But Emma, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you this evening for you, this morning for me. It's Emma Todd, CEO of MMH Blockchain Group. Just put www.mmhgroup.io, and also co-chair of Blockchain for Impact. And don't forget to go to blockchainforimpact.org to find out more about it. Thank you so much for your time once again. Stay on the call. We're going to talk after this.
Okay. Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye for now. This show is proudly brought to you by TraderCobb.com. If you want to get bi-weekly video newsletters on the markets that are not shown anywhere else, just subscribe underneath this video on the homepage. If you'd like to get some access to the free webinars to work out exactly what these trading strategies are about, pretty simple. Just go to free webinars. And if you've got friends or family and you'd like to learn more about blockchain and what the opportunity is, well, I've got a full 40-minute course there for you under free courses. Please share this link around and get involved.